Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me, Rob, and let's turn on some of these lights here.
Turn on the lights. And I
turn on the lights for what?
I usually just turn off the lights, but we're going there anyway. Yeah. We're doing it the other way. It's okay. Look how bright that got. So bright.
It's bright like a diamond.
It's insane what you can do with lights.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen mine. When I turn all my lights off, it's like the room is like dark all of a sudden just from turning off the lights I have for video because I just have so many around here. It's insane.
It's like seeing you at 1 a.m. at a bar right before the last call lights turn on.
Yeah, it's not pretty. So, speaking of stuff, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here to start the show. So, listen, we get in the realm of outside of football sometimes, and Rob has this look like, what the hell is he about to bring up?
Yeah. Listen, I was on the show early, guys, just so you all know. This is why we started. You know, it's fantastic. Yeah. Drew did not tell me about his rant.
I didn't. We
talked about real estate.
Unplanned, because we're talking about, lights and all the equipment that I have here in this little tiny room that we created here to do this. And so Rob knows this part of it there. Obviously, you guys know I upgraded my webcam recently. The webcam I bought went on sale 3 weeks after I bought it. $50 difference. Again, I'm a cheap bastard. I admit it really. It's okay. I went to Best Buy where I bought it. Do you know that they wouldn't do any price match originally because they said that you had to, because even though Amazon had it for the $50 less, because it had to be sold directly from Amazon, not from the maker of the camera. Why the hell that matters, I don't know. So then I find it literally on their website, Best Buy, for the same $50 off. I'm like, here you go, done, boom. No, sir, it's been too long. If you were one of our paid members, you'd be able to do this. They have a paid monthly membership that extends the grace period for price matching when things go down. Yeah. That's insanity. So, needless to say, and I say that because, again, I have literally, not trying to say I spent more than everybody in the world in podcast world. I know there's people that spent ridiculous thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But I literally have it on this desk in front of me, easily a few $1,000s worth of equipment between mixer, speakers, laptop, lights, camera, action.
I
didn't realize as I was doing it. I'm telling you point blank, I will never buy a damn thing from Best Buy again.
Is that the same camera I just bought off Amazon?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're paying $50 less for the same exact camera.
Score.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Smart shopper because Drew showed it to me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the one who gave you the savings even too. Like I said, I'm that person, legit. I will never shop at a Best Buy again.
The Prime difference, Prime Day, still on sale, no difference.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, ridiculous. Yeah. Ridiculous. Anyway, as your camera gives out, ironically.
And then we won't even have this issue.
As your camera gives out. Anyway, let's get into actual Giants talk here in a minute while we get Rob to go ahead and get back onto the screen. There he goes here. Hence why Rob needs to buy the new camera. He'll be here tomorrow, guys. You get to see the new camera. But, yeah, we have a lot of stuff to go over with you guys still. We have a big injury update. We have people talking QBs. We have Eli Manning talking about buying into the Giants there, and a little update on that situation that was coming out a while ago. So let's get right into with the latest news here on Andru Thomas and his injury, because wasn't good news today, guys. Wasn't good news. No. So listen, we all know Andru Thomas has been basically an injury period. He's been just there's like one big walking injury at this point here. He was on the Giants Huddle podcast talking about his coming back from the foot injury from last year, which, guys, again, we've said it before in the show. Liz Frank injuries aren't tiny. That's like a big thing to come back from. But he said, I'm feeling good, just taking my time with it. Don't really have a projection right now, but doing everything that the trainers are telling me And, hopefully I'm ready to go. Week 1 is the goal, but, we try not to make any predictions, just trying to get ready. Yeah, so guys,
Which
we might
means
not have him.
He might not be ready for week 1, which, I mean, he's hopeful, which to me, like, I like the way he said it.
Yeah.
To a point, but the end message to me is, hey, there's a good shot. I'm not going to be ready for week 1.
Yeah, like, I feel like he meant it as, like, let me give myself some wiggle room in case I'm not ready.
Yeah, but even still, like, listen, if you're coming back from an injury, you don't want to rush coming back from an injury to hurt yourself again. So it sounds like he's taking the right steps. But that being said, week 1 might be a scratch.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Like, there's no guarantee he's around. My hope was, and again, we haven't heard much update. The Giants don't have to update anybody on anybody right now. They're not going to. No. But I was hoping he'd be ready in time for some action in camp. The nice thing is that his whole offensive line from last year is there, which doesn't sound like a nice thing usually, but in this case it is, because what that means is he already has played alongside these guys. So unless there's any difference at the right guard and center position, because that's the two positions you could say there's an outside chance of a change, with something like Evan Neal beating out, and it's funny, everybody says like Evan Neal beating out Greg Van Roten. It's not Greg Van Roten's got to beat out. It's got to be better than JMS. Because if that's the case, then Greg Van Roten slides to center and you put Evan Neal at right guard. That's the real battle. Yeah. But if something like that happens, now you do have two new guys in the line, but the left guard spot should be the same with John Runyan. So it really shouldn't affect him too much. I just want him healthy. This is such a different line with or without Andru Thomas. I just want the man healthy, and I feel bad for him. Like, we talk about frustration as like fans of the team. Obviously you got players that get frustrated as well. Just knowing how Andru Thomas is, guys, there's probably not somebody more frustrated in this whole entire scenario than Andru Thomas himself. So I feel bad for the guy, especially because he knows he's got a big contract. And let's be very frank, if he's not healthy this year, that contract may not be sticking around. And it kind of sounds fair to say that, like, no Andru Thomas potentially, but you can't keep paying a guy $20+ million a year who's playing, only part of the season every year.
Yeah, or it gets renegotiated to like not what his liking is, and which is he might accept or might just say no.
Scary thing is somebody would take him and pay him the same amount of money. A couple of years ago, he signed that contract. It's not as big as, So, plus he still gets some of it left over at that point from that signing bonus. We'll have a cap hit next year either way. But, hopefully, like I said, we're overthinking this process. He's good to go. He's ready to go. He's the old Andru Thomas. And, we saw, again, the difference last year with or without him. Not to start up a U2 song, but
yeah, with or without you,
night and day, guys. It was an average line
without him. Drew.
It fell apart the second. He's not Drew. He's Andru Thomas. Yeah. I don't think he ever goes by Drew.
With or without. No, I'm talking about you. Oh. Episodes go so long or so short. With or without Drew.
What?
What? Where's Jay?
My gosh.
Back me up, man.
He's staying neutral in this. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's get into the next segment here. We got to talk about Wilson or Dart. QB clock is ticking here, guys. Tick, tick, tick. Now, this is coming from Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. Now, I'll be honest, guys. There's not very often I pull up a thing from Mike Florio and I'm like, this is sensible. Like, he's that guy that I feel like just spouts out all kinds of crazy stuff, and probably some of it for clickbait purposes, probably some of it because he actually believes it and he's just wrong. But he's one of the people in the media that I just don't always agree with. He says, if he's the starter, if he's the week 1 starter, and then he puts in parentheses, if Jaxson Dart lives up to his first round stock, Wilson shouldn't be. He said the clock will be ticking. Immediately in 2004, the Giants benched Kurt Warner after 9 games for Eli Manning, even though the Giants were 5-4 at the time. When Dart is ready, Dart will play. Even if Wilson makes it through 2025 without getting benched, he'll have to do plenty to keep Dart on the sideline for 2026. I think that's a little negative on him.
Yeah.
Like, the clock to me is not ticking right now. Like, let's kind of dissect this here for a second. First off, if he's the week 1 starter, he will be the week 1 starter. Let's just put that to rest right now. Russell Wilson will start week 1. There's no reason to rush this kid. Second, if Jaxson Dart lives up to his first-round draft stock, Wilson shouldn't be. No, he's not the first. Florio's acting like
was it first overall?
Yeah. But he's also acting like no first-round quarterback has ever sat before.
Yeah,
it's smart to sit and let them learn and not throw them to the goddamn wolves. Now, if he looks like lights out amazing all of a sudden, or Russell Wilson doesn't look good, okay, maybe there's an outside chance of some kind of conversation. But again, you're also right as well that he wasn't a first overall pick. And I got to say this as well, and this is going to come out kind of negative, and I don't mean to come out negative. I'm trying to be honest here.
Negative Drew.
If it wasn't for the fact that he was a quarterback, he would not have been a first-round pick. If it wasn't for the fear the Giants had of somebody else needing a quarterback and taking him, he wouldn't have been a first-round pick. I don't think most people had him as a first-round talent. Most people, I think, had him at a second-round talent.
It depends on who you're looking at. Like when we're doing those deep dives, like a lot was second round, but there was a few that put him at first. But
a lot of them did because of the fact there was no quarterbacks.
It was also because a lot of people also talk about his QB IQ.
Yeah,
so it's not so much his talent as a QB, but it's QB IQ.
I just feel like when you say first round draft stock, he wasn't considered a first round. Let's be honest. We drafted him early because you wanted that 5th-year option, and you didn't want somebody else to get him.
Yes,
that's what it's all about.
We also took him very late in the first round.
That as well,
because we wanted that 5th-year option.
Damn straight. And I get that. I'm not knocking even the Giants for doing it. I never have. He's not my guy that I would have wanted. But if that's who you want and you have the conviction in him, get that 5th-year deal. Because having an extra year of a rookie deal is a big thing. May not be right now, but ask us in 4 years, and very well may be.
Hey, listen. In hindsight, if you had that rookie deal, year 5 for DJ, would have been a game changer for the Giants.
Yes, if they picked up that 5th-year option, we could have avoided a lot of mess we had. But again, we'll have to find out what happens there. But that to me it's a little crazy. Now he also said Giants benched Kurt Warner after 9 games for Eli Manning. Well, it's a little different situation you got as well here. You literally have
hindsight too.
But what I'm saying is you got a guy who literally is trying to be a guy who's going to get a 4th year with the Giants, Sorry, 5th year, I should say, sorry. He's going into his 4th right now. There's no guarantee he stays around next year. Brian Dable is coaching for his life right now. Now, 2004, Tom Coughlin was literally in his 1st year as the Giants head coach. His 1st year.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference there when you got a guy who's literally fighting for his life and has to care about winning, and a guy that has a leash because it's his very 1st year and he's had a plan going into the season saying we're going to develop this quarterback.
There's a lot to be said there.
Yeah. I'm saying it's a huge difference. So now the one thing I'll agree with him, he says, even if Wilson makes it through 2025 without being benched, he'll have to do plenty to keep Dart on the sideline for 2026. Yeah. Because if Russell Wilson is the quarterback next year, something went wrong.
Big time.
And maybe something went right with Wilson too, but something went wrong with Dart. Like he's got to be like MVP caliber Pro Bowl quarterback for us to go ahead and consider keeping him next year.
Yes.
And I don't think Russell Wilson has it in him anymore.
No. But I mean, yes, you're pretty much nail on the head correct. But if Russell has that great of a year this year, we sign him for another year as another let Dart learn and develop, another, half season. Like that's also not a bad thing either. Like,
yeah,
history shown The longer you sit the quarterback, the more he gets developed into NFL like protocol, the better he becomes coming out.
Yeah. And again, we got to do this right. Don't
Yeah.
DJ him up again. So, before we get to the next segment, let's stay a little high here because Jay says Wuss L Wilson sucks.
Yeah.
Deb says hi guys, a bit late. Giants insider head Steve Serby on. Listen, that's fine.
Nice.
Giants Insider is a good show as well. We never are those people that say, "Oh, we're the only one to watch." Well, I think we're the most consistent show, which is the weird thing. You know, some guys take like weeks off here and there, or sometimes take a month off, even especially this time of the year. You know, I think we're like the only ones who do like three to four episodes a week, no matter what, every single week.
Yeah,
but there's plenty of other good ones. Giants Insider is good. I like, you know, it's like when you watch them, it's almost like, you know, it's almost like those two guys are like talking at a bar. Those guys. So
it's a good listen. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good like drive home from work kind of scenario.
Yeah, exactly. And he says Giants Insider was fired today. So yeah, like I said, I'll check out that episode there, and I definitely recommend other people as well. Because like I said, if you guys say it, I'll trust it because Giants Insider is usually pretty good in general. Jason, you guys need some guests. Actually, I'm going to be talking to a couple people soon on that. Ironically enough, because we got the 500th episode coming in the end of the month, so I wanted to start getting some people on for that. So we're definitely going to do that. He says bring on Tommy G or Sonoris Moss. He said, that's fine. Like, we have your permission. Yes, you have my permission, Jay. He says, most consistent show. Rob is never on time. Rob was on time today, guys. Rob was on time. I'm going to vouch for Rob. I'm going to vouch for him. Though I did forget to do what I said we were going to do today because my back is killing me, guys. At point blank, I was like barely able to stand it after icing it today to try to get into the show here. But I had said on Monday that maybe I should wear the Hawaiian Flowery shirt. You should just wear the random T-shirt. We didn't do it. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows?
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow. All right. Let's get into the next topic here. You know, we've been talking about issues with PFF just not being the nicest to us there overall as they've been running down their, you know, group by group rankings of all the position groups there of all the NFL teams. And latest one is the secondary. And again, they were not very kind to us, guys. Now, I put the picture there, obviously, of Deonte Banks because it kind of tells you what they think of us. But yeah, we're ranked 24th in the league, guys. 24th. Now, I'll say this. I think there's I think they're not as wrong in this one. Like, I've given them a lot of crap.
I was going to say, like, they're pretty close.
Yeah. Now, does this have potential to be a much improved group this year? Yes. We'll get that in a second. But, you know, I feel like this is one of those groups that we can't have extremely high hopes for because there's been issues there. Again, we're ranked 24th out of 32 teams. PFF said the Giants' two highest graded secondary players in 2024 were rookies, cornerback Andru Phillips and safety Tyler Nubin, to bolster a secondary that has struggled for several years. The team signed safety Jevon Holland and cornerback Paulson Adebo this offseason. If the young players continue to develop and the new additions maintain their strong play, this unit could emerge as a surprise in 2025. And that's why I agree. Like, what they're saying is dead on. And again, we've given a lot of crap because they haven't been the nicest to the Giants. It's a very, very legitimate statement. Like, the two strongest rookies, the two strongest secondary players were Andru Phillips and Tyler Nubin last year. And they were rookies. And they did go out and get two solid free agents. But you don't know how those guys are going to gel. You don't know how much development you're going to get in these rookies now going into their second year, as they're now sophomores here. We don't know.
And it's also like, listen, a lot of people, there's a lot of times that everyone gets a big hype around, you know, the freshmen coming out because you don't know what to expect from them. They come out, they have a great year, and this is all position, not secondary. You have a great year because no one knows what you can do. And no one has tape on you. They don't know how to get around. And second season, sophomore year, guess what? They got a full year of tape on you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how you play, see what you move, see what if you did double step to your right or to your left, and they know how to juke or twist or whatever. So like this could be like either they could either get better or people could figure out their game and they could not be our best secondaries.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful. I think definitely with this pass rush, I think that's one thing I think they should have considered in this whole thing. The pass rush obviously should be better this year. It was already pretty good last year, but you throw that into it, and that's going to help them
100%
get better. And then you look at again. History tells you that typically a player is better in the second year than the first year. History also tells you when you put two good players on a group that can only consist of 4, it should be considered probably an upgrade. But there are question marks because, again, you don't know how a player develops. You don't know how Paulson and Adebo will be coming off that, broken leg. I mean, that's got to be a big thing there. And then sometimes you also got, Jevon Holland been kind of hot and cold at times at that point there. So, there's definitely question marks. I think, like I said, I think they gave us a legit rating, but I think they kind of gave us like a worst case scenario kind of thing. And then like, okay, well, we might be wrong because of this and this. We'll see what happens.
It's also kind of going off last year's stats too. So it's
right. And I see, Deb has got the question here. Says, is PFF based solely on stats or is it opinion too? So PFF is basically like, you remember the game, the movie Moneyball?
Yeah.
Like, oop, we lost Rob again.
Oh, God.
There you are. You're like a talking circle now. But it's basically like the Moneyball of football. Like they just look at advanced metrics and that kind of stuff, and that's where they kind of base things off of. Now, that being said, an article like this is also opinion-based because they're projecting what they think is going to happen this year. So it's a little different in that regards. But for the most part, when you look at the ratings they give, those are 100% metric based. So, but I'll say this. They say that, and I'm kind of giving the answer of what PFF would probably say if you ask that question to them directly. But at the same point, don't tell me you can't look at a play and have at least some opinion of it and have that somewhat change. Like when you're trying to look at like who missed this block, you don't know the play. You're just guessing to a certain degree. Like, let's say you have like, John Runyon and Andrew Thomas, and somebody missed the block, and you're not sure who. You're probably going to say John Runyon. That's life. So that's, like I said, it's not foolproof by any means. There's definitely probably some, I wouldn't say opinion, but bias maybe in there. Probably the best way to put it. Unintentional or not, probably in there.
Yeah, I mean, PFF's like better for like receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, but when you talk about offensive line, secondary, it's like where the metrics harder to like record like pressures.
See, I like it for those. It's funny. I'm the reverse of you. I like it for the line in the secondary because there's no stat that tells me how good someone is at blocking. Really, there's no stat that tells me how good someone is at covering a wide receiver.
But sometimes PFF, what they do is
huge, yeah.
Like, all right, no, so say like Ryan's, so to say, right, Phil missed a block when his play design was to go after, miss a tackle on a receiver when his play design was to blitz, and now he might get a hit on PFF because he missed a tackle on a receiver that caught the ball.
Yeah,
like that goes.
Oh, I get it, and there's no.
So like there's. Some of that is into like an eye test of seeing what's going on. So there's a lot of stat base because of what's going on the field, but it's not really going into the dynamics of every play because you can't. That's
what I'm getting at. Like it's not a perfect system, but it's a system, and it's probably the best system that's out there currently for a lot of the stuff that we're trying to look at. Like I said, especially for offensive linemen, especially for blocking tight ends, for example. Like, how do you judge a blocking tight end compared to a guy who's a pass catching tight end? If you look just at stats, the pass catching tight ends look amazing. So that's what I'm saying. There's different things, and again, safeties, corners, even linebackers when they're covering. There's no stat that says that. So it's nice for that. But again, it's a tool. In the end, I trust the eye test more than anything else personally, but that's when you're really getting into opinion. It's nice to have someone actually back that opinion up. Jay says, is Paulson a Debo? He says Adobo, but it's a Debo. Like Dallas is
That
digs.
was great on your burgers.
He makes plays because he's consistently targeted. I wouldn't say that as much as the fact that he does make plays because he takes chances. And sometimes those chances are going to burn you. Like that's definitely part of the equation when it comes to him. That being said, the other thing is also he was playing a lot of times a wide receiver too, because Lattimore was there in New Orleans, and he was definitely the CB1. So what he's done so far is somewhat, skewed, I would say, to a certain degree because of the fact he was CB2. And that's why I'm saying you got to be careful when you say the secondary and give high expectations right now, because there's still some questions. And the sad thing is, to a certain degree, we did this to ourselves though, but we had to pay people a lot of money this offseason that there's questions on. That's usually not a good thing to have to do.
No.
Jay says sometimes Rob starts talking for a bit. It looks like he forgets what he's talking about mid-sentence.
I'm Spinner.
He says, he said PFF is decent. People complain about it, but their highest rated players' teams are the best. The worst is the worst. There are inconsistencies. Exactly. I said there is no way to know, how to create a system that doesn't have flaws and doesn't have potential for being wrong. That's just what it boils down to in the end. But like I said, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just if you're looking for perfection, you're not going to be very happy.
And that's it too. Like in the day, like a lot of play on the field is, yes, stats go a long way, but there's also a lot of eye test that has to go on to what you see. Like Eli Manning, like probably a quarter of his interceptions were just bad at balls that just went wrong.
Yeah,
but it's not going to show up on the scoreboard. It's not going to show up on PFF.
Oh yeah, that
it was the receiver's fault for just not missing the ball, or just trying to catch the ball, or just not being able to catch the ball.
It's almost like there should be a almost like an ERA in that regard. You know what I mean? Like how it's like an earned run average, and you don't count the unearned. You know what I mean?
That would be interesting.
I don't know how you do it per se. You'd have to figure something out there. That's for sure. But it'd be interesting. Got to give a shout out here to the Giants content creator, the Giant Topic. Always like to give a shout out to people that are there. So again, another good channel to check out there. Jason, is Rob streaming from the vacuum store's storage closet? Well, he's not. He's in the pantry actually.
Yeah,
because he couldn't stop off at the Golden Corral. Oh, we got the Golden Corral in the show
in
today.
The cafeteria.
Oh yes, vacuum sales and Golden Corral. Okay, we've now completed all the topics we have to hit at some point today.
You gotta go home.
Therefore, we should do then. We should go ahead and pay the bills.
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the Goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
All righty, guys. Real quick, the Giant Topic, if you're still there in the live, let us know, because I'm looking at your page here, because I don't know if I must have checked you guys at some point because I subscribed. but I don't see anything new in about a year. So let us know if you guys are active, so people know where they go to check you out. Maybe I was a little quick with that there. But let's get into the next topic here, because we do have some more things to go over here. And we got to talk about the guy who's probably like, I feel like if somebody's talking trash about me, this is the guy I want in my corner. And that's Darius Slayton, who's still defending Daniel Jones. I thought we were done talking about Daniel Jones. So, but yeah, we got like I said, some chaos here when he's asked about Daniel Jones. He says, it was definitely not an ideal situation. At the end of the day, he knows what the business is. I know what this business is. It's result-based. We weren't good enough the past few years on offense. Typically, that's the tip of the spear is the quarterback. Now, is it just me, or when I hear the phrase tip of the spear, I go right to, of course, Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise movie. When what's his name? I'm trying to remember the name of the actor. The guy who always played the sleazeball. No, Tom Cruise is the guy who actually kind of did the sleazeball. Bill Paxton. He was like the drill sergeant, the tip of the spear. Like,
yeah. Game over, man. Game over. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, like listen, it was a good movie. It's weird because they didn't.
Was really good.
They didn't know what to call it, and it's like Day After Today or Day After Day, whatever. For a while, Edge of Tomorrow, all different. They only changed the name like 3 times.
Yeah,
but it's a good movie. It's a good movie. But every time I hear that phrase, I think of him now. Anyway, he says, I think that he, meaning of course Daniel Jones, will be a successful quarterback in the league. This league is largely about being in the right place at the right time. I gotta say, I don't think that's a right place, right time kind of scenario was the issue for Daniel Jones. Now, did we do him favors? No, we've gone on record of saying our opinion. We did him no favors the entire time he's here, basically.
Especially last year.
I mean, in general, tell me one move that was like, oh, that's a good move to help him out. Seriously, that's the scary part. I can't name one move that they did that was going to help him out.
Get him Isaiah Hodgins. That was it.
Like Kenny Galladay? I mean, it didn't work out, but they definitely tried to bring him in a top, they thought a top flight receiver. So, yeah, that's the one move I guess you could say. You know, it's so, I mean, I guess they finally fired Jason Garrett, so that kind of thing for him.
But we also had Jason Garrett before.
That cancels it out, doesn't it? But yeah, like I said, I don't think it's a situation. I told you guys before, I really do wish nothing but the best for Daniel Jones, because he just seems like a great guy, and you never hear anybody say bad about him at all. But he's just not a good quarterback, guys. He's not.
He's never going to be great.
No, I think the injuries killed him, along with all the issues we did too. To be honest.
Yeah. He had potential to be a good quarterback. Not a great.
Yes.
Not top 10. Maybe every once in a while. Like, he had listen, his best scenario was a Geno Smith scenario.
Yes. And I think that's what kind of Slayton's referring to, that like maybe he'll later on in his career walk into a good scenario. Because let's be frank, I don't think the Colts are a great scenario either. Like, no.
I mean, yeah, he's not going to get a start there. Like, we all know that. Like, Anthony Richardson over there. So, like, that. I don't know.
You know what I kind of feel like? I feel like he's the guy who's going to be a good coach down the road. Like Daniel Jones, head coach somewhere. Like, I feel like he's that guy. Like, he works his tail off. He's not an idiot. He's actually kind of smart.
He went to Duke.
People like him. He seems, to be a likable guy overall. That's the kind of guy who's a coach later on. Because it's funny, the greatest coaches, if you look at their playing career, was never that great. Like, you don't get like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning to be the next coach. Like, that's not the way it typically works.
No, what you get the guy that doesn't have that, that
you get Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get that talent that's given to you. You got that guy that has to go in there and work every day and look at the drills, look at the plays, look what you're supposed to do. Look what you're supposed to mimic. You're gonna do, but you have to train and constantly do it because you're that competitive. Or you can go and be a coach and instill that into the people that do have that talent.
Yeah. Like I said, I just be curious. I think that would be something
Kevin
I
was
could
a
see him
coach.
going, that's for sure. Jason Garrett was the poop. Yes, he was. He says, first one in the building, hard worker. His teammates like him. Kind of like Drew. Ah, fooled you. My teammates don't like me.
This guy. This guy.
It's wrong hard. It's like you're starting a dance. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Actually, Deb is foreshadowing here for us. She is, because she must have seen it. The next segment, Eli Manning saying the Giants' steak is too pricey. Listen, we were all hoping that he'd be part of the franchise in the long term, and that's definitely one way of shoring that up and making sure that's the case. But he's out. So he was talking to CNBC Sport, said, basically, it's too expensive for me. 1% stake valued at $10 billion turns into a very big number. Now, for the record, that's $100 million for those who can't figure out the 1% thing.
Yeah.
He also had other issues would have arose there as well. And this is kind of like what's going on with Tom Brady having, a small stake in the Raiders right now. He said, I wouldn't be able to talk to players that I coached in the Pro Bowl. It was going to affect my day job. Which obviously he's talking about, he does Manning cast. That could be potentially an issue because Brady gets away with some things because they changed the rules and how he does things as a broadcaster. He doesn't meet and sit down with the players. Those kind of things he's not allowed to do because he is a part owner.
Yeah.
So, but the Manning cast on Monday Night Football is different because it's an interview during the game, basically. Like, they bring people on, they talk to them, they joke around with them, they have players come in, ex-players, coaches, ex-coaches, different people in the media. You can't talk to active players as an owner. And that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
So
I mean, let's be realistic. We probably saw the writing on the wall beforehand because, the Manning cast is a pretty good show, a pretty dominant show, and he's probably making a good fortune on it. Like, let's be real. Like, is he going to pay the millions of dollars to become a part owner? Grant, it's nice for his legacy. Maybe down the road,
when it's worth $200 million for 1%.
Well,
that's the problem. It's going to be more money. Now, I gotta say,
inflation.
if I was him, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want the 1% because what he said. If you're going to not be able to do things like coach the Pro Bowl, do the Manning cast, things that get your face out there still, which, let's be honest, how many quarterbacks do you say, what are they up to now? Like, have you heard from Drew Brees in a while?
Nope. What about Big Ben?
Nope. Philip Rivers, he's probably having 5 more kids since the last time we saw them. But,
he has his own 2 football teams in child.
I'm just saying, like, Eli is still relevant, and he probably wants to stay that way because the longer he stays relevant, the more money he makes. How much money is he really going to make off the 1% ownership of the Giants?
Probably not that much. He's probably going to get that 1% that gives away the free medium cokes.
The biggest thing he would get is, he's going to get some dividends, obviously, as a stakeholder, depending on how they split the company up and what the way it's written. But the biggest way you get usually money is when you go to sell it again. And why would he buy it just to sell it in a couple of years? That doesn't make sense. So he's better off where he's at. Give him a role with the team, an advisory role or whatever. Give him a job within Giants media like he has, where he does the Eli show for the Giants and stuff like that. And let him do that. Because let's be honest, guys, he's around that building nonstop. And people talk about, like, he's going to keep the owner in check and blah, blah, blah. You don't think he gets a chance to do it now?
Yeah. He's actually probably got a bigger stake to do it now than if he had that 1%, because he could go on and interview someone else, just like Drew was just saying.
Yep.
Or another player from another team and see what they have to say about their organization compared to taking on that 1%.
And I remember that, and I can't remember which player it was, but I remember there was a thing during the Pro Bowl where Eli said he was talking to somebody who was going to be a pending free agent, and he was talking up the Giants. He couldn't do that if he owned 1%.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting point I didn't think of when we first heard about this story. But it's really something to think about there. And Jay goes, at least Eli shows some integrity about partial ownership, unlike Tom Brady. He says, some of these dudes, it's like you don't have enough money. Can't you go somewhere? Does Pat Mahomes really need Charmin commercials? Well, let me just tell you this. He probably gets free Charmin, and toilet paper is not always easy to get a hold of. We learned that a couple of years ago.
Hurricanes or tornadoes, which, you're in Kansas. Or Missouri, whatever.
Yeah, well, Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't make sense for him to do. And especially with all the endorsement money, again, all that kind of stuff, he'd have limitations what he can do. He's better off where he's at. Make your money. And, when he stops being a national brand, which I got to tell you up front, I don't think it's going to happen for quite a while because him and Peyton are that combo. It's not like Eli is a star and Peyton is a star. The Manning brothers are a star. They've developed a post-career brand together.
Well, they didn't do that post. They did.
But what I'm saying is, during their careers, they were separate.
Double stuff Oreo challenge. Just saying.
I'm just saying they were different though. Like Eli was a star, Peyton was a star. I mean, Peyton is one of the top 5, top 10 quarterbacks of all time, depending where you want to put him. It's a whole different topic later on where you want to put the guy because, again, he sucked in the playoffs. But, they had their own thing. But now,
are you trying to tell me they didn't have Oreo commercials?
No, they did some things together.
Who won?
I think they did. They did some things. I think they did an episode on SNL together, even too. But it wasn't like it is now. The things that they do publicly is the two of them together 9 times out of 10. It's the Manning cast. It's the Pro Bowl. It's the things that you see that are on the bigger screen. I'm not talking about the videos that Eli does for the Giants and that kind of stuff because that's his thing. But if you think that gets nearly the views as the Manning cast does, you're kidding yourself. So it's build the brand. And listen, if that brand goes away, then you want to do that, go for it. But
that's what I was going to happen for. Like down the road when, say you're 65, 70, when most people want to retire and not do all that stuff, you want to take 1% in there and just show your face to, current stuff. Yeah. I mean, although at this day and age and health-wise, it'll probably be 70, 75, but like you said, you have a name with your brother, and it's fair. It's not common. It's very rare in the NFL that you have a brother that's also a Pro Bowler, that's also a Super Bowl winner, and you could start doing a podcast with them, like the Kelsey brothers also down the road.
Yeah.
Will do the same thing.
Yep. And
they have another brothers that have done that in the NFL.
Well, I know. And listen, you can even throw Cooper in there. Maybe Cooper should buy 1%. Cooper Manning, the third Manning brother, people forget about. That's Arch's father, and was a wide receiver in his own right there that could have had an NFL career if he didn't hurt himself in college. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, though. I think Eli's not going anywhere. If people think Eli is going anywhere, they're crazy. Eli is not going anywhere. It would take a massive, massive rift within the Giants organization somewhere for him to go away, because Eli knows point blank that relationship is important to him and brings him a lot of money. And the Maras and Tishes know that Eli is very important to them and brings them a lot of money. Because let's not be I don't want to be morbid here, but I'm going to kind of be morbid here for a second. Lawrence Taylor is 66 years old. 66 years old. Way to make me feel old, but he is. Let's be honest, in 20 years, and he's gone. Who's the face of the franchise now? Well, you're bringing up Mr. Giant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like how the Jets have to continuously peddle out Joe Namath.
Well, it's going to be Eli very soon, because
And that's what I'm saying. Whenever
it's on the
Eli
field,
passes,
off
and I
the
hope
field,
it's not for a long time.
after. Listen, I mean, no disrespect to LT, but like he's had a very let's say fruitful past.
It's a rough 66 years.
Yeah, and they see the guy that makes it 100, probably not.
No, who knows?
Just saying, I don't know. Maybe that was good for your heart. I don't know.
Who knows? We talked about Ozzy the other day. You told me that Ozzy Osbourne would be touring from like 1970 to 2025. Like, I would have said, no, are you kidding me? No way in hell has this guy last 55 years touring.
Touche.
So, I mean, you never know. Some of it's genetics. But, in the end, I'm just saying, whenever that time comes, and again, I hope it's no time soon, but whenever it does come, that's what you're looking at. So, let's see. He says, Jay says, Drew busting out the actuary tables. LOL, come on. Actuary tables?
Actual tables. I'm assuming what he meant by saying Ozzy from 70 to 25.
I don't know. Isn't an actuary a person who compiles analytics, statistics, and uses them to calculate insurance risks and premiums? Maybe he was saying that. I had to look up the word. I'm like, I've heard of the word before. I didn't know what it meant. But yeah, I'm just saying it's the honest truth. Like, LT is a risk to pass earlier than the average person. She says, hell, Richard Simmons, the fitness guru, died before Keith Richards. Hell, yes. That's a perfect example, though. Richard Simmons, there's some rumors of things going not so well for him towards the end of his life. People abusing him and such. So,
yeah.
He says, actual. I can't spell him, an internet troll. It's okay. He says, Tom Brady got a massive discount on Raiders ownership. Giants aren't doing that. Exactly. And they shouldn't. The Giants don't need Eli as an owner. The Raiders definitely needed Tom Brady. Let's be very frank.
Big difference.
Big difference, exactly. And it's weird to own like part of a team you didn't even play for, right? Like, am I the only one who thinks that? Like, it would have made more sense if you got like 1% of the Patriots. Like the Raiders? You're that desperate?
Well, you've been a failing organization for so long that the Raiders were desperate to hire a winner on that team.
You know what, though? Honestly, as crazy as it sounds, yes, you're not wrong. They've been not winning for a long time. But the Raiders, there's a lot worse teams out than the Raiders have been. It's not like the Jets, the Browns, those kind of teams. You even say, I guess the Panthers had a little bit of a run here and there, but, like there's teams that are worse.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, I don't know. It's just weird. And Jason's word is Davis just want him around as a buddy to speed dial and for fanfare. And that fanfare is definitely part of it. Especially for a team that's gone. I've seen this team play for 3 cities in my years. Oakland, Los Angeles, and now Vegas. It's a little weird. They don't really have their histories all muddled up and together and stuff now at this point. So, all right, we got one more segment here for you guys. And this was an interesting article that kind of made me think here. They did a 2024 redraft. And this was on Sports Illustrated. Daniel Flick is the one who did the article. As we lost Rob, he's very disappointed by this stuff. But they were talking about the Giants and the NFL as a whole and what they should do as far as if we can go back in time, knowing what we know now, what you would do in the 2024 NFL draft. On the Giants, they wrote, the Giants considered drafting a quarterback in the first round in 2024, but ultimately chose to stick with Daniel Jones, who was ultimately released in November. Perhaps 25 first-round signal caller Jaxson Dart will reward New York's patience, but Knicks finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting and has intangibles to fit the spotlight. So basically what they're saying is that was a mistake. Knowing what we know now, you probably should have got Bo Nix. Now, for those who are unaware of what Bo Nix did his rookie year, 66% completion percentage, 3,775 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and a 93.3 QB rating. I get that you look at that and you go, oh, God damn, the Giants could have had that. That's some promise. That's something you can look at and go, okay, what could he do? And Jay's kind of already hit the head on the nail on the head here of what I was thinking myself. He said, I'd probably still take Neighbors, but if we had a real coach like Sean Payton, yeah, Bo Nix. That's part of this equation, guys. It's not just what did they do where they went. Is do you think they could do it if they went to you? I don't know. I mean, we don't know. There's no way to go back and find out that scenario and see what happens here. But I look at a player like Bo Nix, and yeah, he had a lot of success his rookie year. Was starting out pretty quick, had a little bit of rough spots in the beginning, and then looked pretty good, especially towards the end of the season. But he had Sean Payton. Sean Payton obviously has a history of being good with quarterbacks, though obviously had his issues with our current quarterback, Russell Wilson, his time there. But and Sean Payton was obviously the coach for the Saints. Drew Brees had just a Hall of Fame career. Then you go into, his time with the Giants, and he also had, really good, seasons with Kerry Collins as well. So, you don't know what would have happened if Bo Nix was a Giant, because I can't sit here confidently say that the Giants were going to be able to throw Bo Nix out there with that poop show of a team we had last year, and it would have been good.
Yeah, no. I think we drafted the right player last year, because we've talked about it before. Like you build around your quarterback, but you literally would have been throwing the guy into the deep end of the pool to learn how to swim with sharks.
Yep. Without the Malik Neighbors floaty, by the way.
Yeah. So no talent whatsoever around you.
Yeah.
Failing offense, terrible bad offensive line play, and expect it to go out and swim. I mean, he's never learned how to swim before. Meanwhile, he goes to the Broncos, a pretty good offensive line. Yeah, not top tier receiver.
Better than the Giants, though.
But good receiver,
especially after Thomas and all.
Oh, I'm saying the receiving core,
yeah. I'm saying look at the offensive line though, better than what the Giants had.
Oh yeah.
Year. Now I think the other thing people are forgetting this whole thing as well is that Bo Nix had played in college for 15 years. It felt like, and
COVID,
was probably as QB ready as NFL ready as he was going to be. Whereas he's also 25 years old. When did he even turn 26 at this point? He goes, let's see.
He turned 26 2 years ago. What are you talking about?
No, I mean on the fake birth certificate he gave. Let's see here. Of course, it's not even coming up. Let me see. Wikipedia's got it. So he turns in February. He'll turn 20. Okay, so this is legit. It's year 25. It's your age 25 year. So you're still talking 3 years older than Jaxson Dart, which doesn't sound like a lot right now because you just want a player that's good. But in the long term, if these two have identical careers, you would have rather had Dart because of the age.
100%. And he just also hurt my feelings a lot because he's 25, which means he was born in 2000, which means he was born in the century and world.
Technically, 2000 was the last year of last century, if it makes you feel better.
I guess so.
He was also born only 4 months before I graduated high school. That makes me feel bad.
No, so actually, because listen, year one was not year one. There's still zero. When you're an infant, you're not 1 year old.
I know. Yeah, but it's not the way it works for centuries. Centuries, technically the year 2000 is the last year of last century. 2001 starts a new century.
I guess.
I don't know why. This is what I've been told. So I'm going to argue it as if it's fact. But again, I just think if you threw Bo Nix to that team last year without Neighbors, because you're not getting both, there's no way in hell he succeeded like he succeeded last year with Denver. No way in hell.
No. Listen, Bo Nix. Listen, a lot of people didn't expect Bo Nix to ball out the way he did. Like, he played good football last year, and people, projected him to play like good football, but no one projected him to, especially like the second half of the year, to be like he was pretty much a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah,
the last 8 games of the season.
Yeah,
and
we got a chance for a new generation of quarterbacks to take over this league here. A lot of the old guard is leaving, and there haven't really been a lot of dominant quarterbacks take their place right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, the past few years, there's a lot of passing the torches, and a lot of torches have been dropped.
I say a lot of just putting the torch down and waiting for somebody to pick it up. It feels like.
Yeah, I mean, rookie style. I mean, you got Mahomes. Everyone wants to say about Lawrence, but that's DJ with long hair.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence, yeah. No, he's not that good. Let's see. Jay says, Drew, going into the drafts, who are you more favorable with, Dart or Nix? I like Dart more. I prefer Dart. Again, coming into the draft, this is not knowing what we know of Nix's first year. It's going into draft day with Nix, draft day with Dart. I prefer Dart, but only because I think Dart has a higher ceiling than Nix based on what I thought of them going into the draft.
Yeah,
I will say that I thought Nix has a higher floor, though. Like, I thought Nix would be a low-end starter to a high-end backup, whereas Dart would either be a legit starting quarterback or out of the league within a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, the gameplay to me seemed very similar.
Yep.
So it was like hard to tell.
Well, I feel like Nix though was more of a short yardage guy though, and Dart takes the chances, and that's where.
But Nix also had, like we said, 17 years in college due to COVID, so he has the experience.
He started college in 1987.
Yeah. Back when you graduated high school, he started college.
No, he was just born then. We already established him old.
He was throwing the ball out of the womb.
He was born a quarterback, like Evan Neal was born a tackle.
Listen, when the quarterback slapped his butt, he threw the ball.
Oh, when the quarterback slapped his butt? What's going on?
No, when the doctor slapped Bo Nix's butt, he threw the ball.
Whoa, butt slapping. What the hell?
Come on.
Not cool, guys. Not cool. Anyway, like I said, I do think that having a quarterback that you think may be able to be the guy, because let's be honest, still rookie year, we still don't know what's going to happen with Nick's fully his career. But going into that beforehand, could you have gotten a guy do you think may have been the guy? Or get a receiver you know is the guy?
You get the stud. Listen, you get that.
Yep.
Listen, neighbors come out of the draft. We're like, this could be the generation of talent that we need. We got that generation of talent. Like, he proved it last year with no quarterback play.
Nope. Yep.
Making rookie records.
Now, I'm going to throw this into the mix. And for those who've been watching the show for a while, will know damn well where I'm going with this, probably. Why Nix? Why not Penix? I still think Penix will be the better player when this whole thing's all said and done. We'll see. I got to be. It's ironic because I was a big fan of him. Going into the draft, and I actually got to be there for his very first NFL start too, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even though it was against the Giants, not for the Giants, but I still think he'll be the better.
I do too.
Yeah.
Especially as a Giant, like the way that the offense was set up at the time. Like,
yeah. Penix, I think he'll be better, but we'll find out. I mean, again, though, I feel like people just think you can just plug and play, and that's the whole point of this whole segment. Like, people think you can just plug and play. Oh, put Bo Nix on the Giants, the quarterback situation's fixed. No, it's not there. It's not going to automatically work just because I worked one place. Jason's having a great wide receiver with a bad quarterback is like a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. It doesn't matter. You say that, but Neighbors kicked some ass last year.
He definitely did.
So it worked. So, all righty, guys. Well, that's got to call it a night for us here. We'll be back again with you guys, of course, tomorrow for our Thursday episode, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter/X, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite,
Drew's LinkedIn profile.
My LinkedIn profile. And of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms. That is, of course, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there. So if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit all the the positive buttons, the thumbs up on YouTube, on the video itself, the bell on YouTube.
Bell.
You can find out we're actually going to be live here with you guys. And like I said, we'll be back again tomorrow night here going over the latest news that comes out here as well for you guys. Maybe one or two other things. So we'll be back. See you then, guys, again tomorrow night. And as always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm